Hello, family, friends, followers, Facebook. We're here today with Nicola, and she have an unusual topic, which is unlearning missions. So today she's going to tell us all about her unlearning mission. So just don't move, just stay right there so you can learn all about that unlearning mission. And I'm Corinthia, and this is Aurelie. So tonight we're here with you. I'm going to pass it over to Nicola.
Thank you, Mrs. Corinthia. Thank you, Miss Early, for having me today. I'm excited to talk with you. I've seen your podcast. I've seen friends of mine have been guests, and my pastor, Art Dirksen, introduced us. So I'm thankful for that introduction and to talk today about unlearning missions. And that's something I had to do. Growing up in church, there was one way of doing it. And then I had to learn that there is another way of doing missions. I'm talking international missions and charity work and serving overseas. And so thank you for having me. And if you'd like, I can share a little bit about my personal story and then we go from there.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I grew up in a Pentecostal church and out west in a small town. And I was in church all the time. The doors were open. I was there. I went to Christian school from kindergarten to grade 12. And then my options after high school were quite limited. I felt that I had two options. One was marry a dairy farmer, and the other one was be a missionary. And I chose the second one. My
Wow.
parents bought me suitcases for my graduation gift, and I got a one-way ticket to England where my grandparents were. And I thought I was going to travel the world, teach children under a tree outside, run orphanages. I thought I was gonna,
Wow.
just change the nations and, grow my own herbs and goats and die an old maid and buried under a banana tree. That's what I thought God was gonna do with my life. And fortunately, he sent along a handsome, charming Englishman very quickly after I arrived in England, who took one look at me, this little country girl with a funny accent, and after one date proposed.
Oh,
And we've been married 31 years this year,
Wow.
Jason and
wow.
I. And he is my biggest fan. He's my biggest encourager. He's my biggest supporter.
Come on.
And because of his wisdom, with my enthusiasm, that's the story of how I've been able to do missions while living in Canada and with our children here. I don't live overseas. I don't plan to live overseas. I have learned through hit and miss and mistakes and reading and talking with wiser people how to establish national teams and how to invest in national teams to run projects in their own country. And I'm the connector. I'm the connector between the needs and the resources. So my role is to find the right people, to build relationship with them, and then find the right people here to build relationship with them for funding and sponsorship, to connect the two, and eventually have the national team run things and fund things themselves. That's the long-term goal.
Come
So that's
on.
that's that's
That's so
how it
good.
started.
That's good. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's good. All right. Um, why, like, why do the work that you do? Why are you so passionate about it now? And what kind of made it so it's like, okay, this is a call of God on my life? Like, when did you know this was a call of God on your life?
Right.
And it kind of established something in you and it drove a fire in you to go and do.
Yeah, from a very, very young age. Probably one of the very first books I ever read was Missionary Stories. Kay Gordon, who went to the Arctic North. Gladys Aylward, the woman that they made the film, The Inn of the Sixth Happiness. Amy Carmichael. These were women that had adventures, and I was all up for adventure. That was part of the pull. I said, God, I'll serve you and I'll love you my whole life, but please don't let me be bored. Like I couldn't bear it.
Oh.
So he answered my prayer, and I have been able to, all the way up until last year, I worked till about 2 years ago when I got sick. I worked full time, always worked full time. Nothing very glamorous. I worked in palliative care and dementia care all over the Halton region for many years, nights for many, many years. But during all that time, while our children were younger, I was doing missions like 1 week at a time here and there. And so I was, my husband was very much supportive, even having 2 little toddlers at home. I would go for 10 days and come back. And that happened with Haiti many times, 21 times, in fact, with Haiti.
Wow.
And then, so what happened was all that mission work was always in me, and I was always wanting to do something, but I knew that I wasn't the traditional missionary kind because I wasn't going to live overseas. I wasn't ordained through a Christian university or seminary. And I wanted to, after Haiti, like for many times going back and forth, I wanted to learn how do I do missions differently, because what we're doing is not working. It might work for a short time, but it's not sustainable. And we saw that in March 2020, when COVID hit. 80, almost 90% of charities and ministries left Haiti in 2020.
Wow.
And so, unfortunately, many of them had to close. And it was, very heartbreaking and sad, and it was very sudden. But because I had learned in 2014, 2013, 2012, how to build a national team and then let them get on with it, we are able to grow and sustain and still do our work there. And it's growing all the time, which has been a really, a real benefit of taking the long and slow and hard way of doing things. I have some notes, if that's okay.
Yes. Yeah.
You can probably tell I need my notes every now and again. I'm going to start with the first sentence, which is fill in the blank. And the blank is, I'm going on a mission trip to blank. And very often when I meet people and they say, oh, I'd love to come with you. I said, oh, why would you like to come with me? Like, oh, I want to love people. Or I want to serve. And those are great answers. Or I want to go on a mission trip to do my part. Or because I feel like God is speaking to my heart, or one of those things. But the answer that I'm looking for is I'm going on a mission trip to learn. And that has been the difference in my life, of learning that I needed to learn. And it was very easy.
That's good.
As a sort of privileged person to go into a poor country with my ideas and with my plans and with my donated old clothes, and learn and relearn how is this benefiting long term? How are we building relationships and restoring families and setting up people in their own small business? And so that is one of the things I look for when people say, oh, I'd love to come with you to India. I hope you're coming to learn. I hope you're coming to learn that we don't have all the answers.
That's really good.
For example, Christianity has been in India for 2,000 years. St. Thomas is buried in India. There's a cathedral dedicated to him, and he established Christianity before he died in India. So we're not going to bring the word, we're going to learn what is the church in India, and how can I come alongside them to encourage? What is their biggest need? What is their biggest need? These pastors, the ones that I've met, and in our organization in India that we've partnered with, there's over 100 pastors and their wives that are church planting in dark areas, in negative and heavy and anti-Christian areas. How can we come alongside them and encourage them?
Wow.
And one of the things that we do with our national director is we have a pastors conference when I go to visit. We pay, or we fundraise $10 per person. This covers their transportation to the conference and their lunch when they get there, and for their wife to come as well. and we bring them together. We have worship time, prayer time, encouragement, meal together. They get to meet up with each other at a national annual conference. So instead of going to, like, for example, paint the side of their church, they have people that can do that. They're not incapable of finding 10 boys in the youth group and saying, hey, tomorrow let's have a paint day. You know, that's kind of obvious, but kind of not to some. So we want to come alongside our national director, say, what's the biggest need? How can we help? How can we come and leave a blessing?
That's so good.
And one of the things I learned in Haiti, that a gift that is a headache is not a gift. A gift that is a headache is not a gift. And I remember I actually sat down when our director said this to me, and I said, tell me exactly what you mean. And he said, for example, we live in the city, in Port-au-Prince near the airport. And say, for example, you want to give us 2 goats because you heard the goats are the be-all and end-all. And how many times have we heard goats are the answer? Right. He said, if you bring me 2 goats, look around you. Is there any grass as far as the eye can see? No. Do I have a fence? No. Do I have a water tap? No. Do I have a shelter? No. Can I afford a vet if my goat starts eating the laundry? No. So again, you know, all these things. And I made the mistakes. I took down 4 sewing machines, got there, and they looked at me, bless their hearts, not like I was stupid, but it was certainly in their mind. And they're like, Jay, they call me Jay. They're like, Nicola, we don't have electricity. You've been here before. Come on, you know that. And I sat there with these 4 huge, heavy sewing machines that Air Canada had kindly given us free baggage for. And I was like, why did I not think of that? I've been here before. The hotel I stay at has electricity, but there's maybe 2 or 3 hours a week in their area. Wow. So learning to come alongside and ask, what do you need? How can I help you? And many times they'll say, just come and visit with us. Come and visit my grandma. Come and visit my sister-in-law. Come and see, you know, my kids are doing their kindergarten graduation. Come to graduation and take pictures of our kids. I'm like, I thought we were supposed to bring you all my kids' old clothes. They're like, no, we want you to come to our baby dedication. We want you to have relationship and connection in the body of Christ, as opposed to being someone that has all the answers and all the stuff.
That's so good.
So that's one of the things we had to learn. That's a big one of unlearning. What do I think they need? I think they need goats. I think they need sewing machines. I think, you know, the pastors in India need this, this, and this. But if you ask and learn, and I have had to learn that slowly, and I wish, of course, I had learned it faster, but to say, what is the need? What is the need that I can think about and give you an answer about later? I'm not going to give you an answer right now. That's another thing. People come with all these promises. We're going to build a school. We're going to build a church. We're going to bring you a youth group. We're going to, you know, oh yeah, chickens. We've got hundreds of chickens. We're going to send you eggs. They do not need eggs sent from one country to another. Why not set up a group of 10 women with 10 chickens each for the price it would cost you to ship 10 cartons of eggs?
It's better for them.
It's better for them. And it's self-sufficiency, self-reliance, and reliance on getting started, and then being encouraged to continue. Yeah.
That's good. So is that why you wanted the topic unlearning?
Yes, there's 3 things in my notes that I had to unlearn. 3 things in my notes that I had to unlearn. And 3 things that advance that we don't do, we try very hard not to do. The first one is we don't do shipping. We used to, sewing machines that we couldn't plug in, wedding dresses that, you know, were used but were not. And then that was a whole, a thing that was, quite frankly, the gangs came and took our store and destroyed our work there. So that was frustrating.
Wow.
So we don't do shipping. And the main reason, well, there's a couple of reasons. One is it's incredibly expensive. you're looking at containers,
Mm-hmm.
$20,000. Plus, when it gets there, you need a reliable person to get it out of
To get it
customs,
out.
or you're paying
Mm-hmm.
another 10, 15. So the shipping is expensive, but also I find that we were undermining the people that had a business. So if I take 50 pairs of flip-flops that
Mm-hmm.
somebody donated to me and give them away to a village, the lady that's selling flip-flops from a basket on her head is undermined. Who's going to buy from her when when there's white people bringing free stuff? Like, who's going to
Mm-hmm.
do that? So
Wow.
instead of
Wow.
going to the woman who sells the flip-flops saying, look, I have a shipment of flip-flops here, I would like to give them to you. There's 50 pairs, but what I would like you to do is give away the first 5 pairs to the homeless or people that can't afford them, and sell the rest for school fees or for food or for transportation. So you're investing in a business, and we're talking like small business, micro business. We're
Mm-hmm.
investing in a woman to have a business, teaching her to give a little bit of her blessing, and we're
That's
not
so good.
undermining the business economy side, and
That's
we're
so
not
good.
paying to ship cheap stuff across oceans, which is a headache in itself. Yeah, so
That's
that's
so
one of the
good.
things that we unlearned.
That's
Are
so
you ready
Mm-hmm.
for
good.
the second one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the second one. Okay, the second one is we do not take large teams. I have done large teams way back in the day, and yeah, I'm probably still need some therapy because that is hard work.
Oh,
That is like
wow.
herding cats. You're drawing so much attention to yourself. You're
Wow.
trying to make sure everybody's happy.
It's,
You're trying to make sure
wow.
everybody's safe. And also, you're using such a huge amount of a budget to take 15 teenagers somewhere for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Whereas we just take small teams, like 1 or 2 people maximum. They fundraise their money. They get charitable tax receipts for it because it's a volunteer trip. So we help you
Mm-hmm.
fundraise. Um, and then you come with me, and we're basically like Siamese twins for a week, and we just go and meet people and make connections and find out the problems, think about resources, and get the person on the team fully immersed in the culture that we're going to. Um, I don't want to talk badly about other people. But I have seen many things in 20, 25 years, and I have seen, Canadian or American teams of teenagers go to Haiti and live on pizza and never speak to a Haitian because they're told they have to be safe on the compound. So they're not immersed in culture. They might go to the Sunday morning service. So my goal was always with our Haiti trips is come with me, stay close. We've got a good team, and I hope you don't see another skin color the same as yours until we get back to the airport in a week. That was my goal. Like, you're going to eat Indian food with your hands. You're going to eat Nepali food with your hands. You're going to eat Haitian food at 10 o'clock at night because it takes 7, 8, 9 hours to make supper. You're going to sit while the little girls get their hair braided. You could sit 8, 9 hours and talk with the nannies and build relationship with them. So it was taking small teams is one of the things that we do, and I have found it to be so encouraging for me, encouraging for the people that we visit, but also encouraging for the team member because I feel that they're getting value for their money. They're getting value for their fundraising. They're seeing the real country as much as we can, as much as is safe and as wise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that we do is we just take small teams, 1 or 2 people, and then we are like jumping in the deep end, let's go. And I find that those people tend to be connected to our organization, connected to me, connected to our friends and leaders overseas long term, very much so long term, which is a real benefit, of course, when you're fundraising or when you're having an event or you're looking for an item to auction off. Somebody that I went with 8, 9, 10 years ago, like, yeah, I've got tickets for this, or yes, I'll come to your event, or I want to be involved. I want to support because I've been there and seen what you do. not
Mm.
just kind of got shuttled on bus to bus or place to place without being invested in the culture. Ready for the last
Wow.
one?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, here's the third one. The third one of all the notes I made is we do not pay our national staff for the first 2 years. And the reason for that is it very, very quickly weeds out who's in it for the long haul and the right purpose and the right attitude and the right interests, as opposed to right away setting people up with paychecks and then not having that testing time or that my friends down there called it the audition time. So we're all
Mm.
volunteers. Up until 1 year ago, I was a volunteer full time. And so our national staff, the first 2 years, we're learning about them. How long does it take them to get a receipt? Can they report on a donation? When somebody asks them for money, or do they ask me for money? Do they ask other people that we know for money? And so have been able, particularly in the 3 countries that we're in so far, which is Haiti, India, and Nepal, to find the right people and to invest in them long term. Like I would tell them right at the beginning, this is my kitchen table. I'm not getting paid. You're not getting paid. Do you want to come on board and see if we can make a difference? See if we can make this work. And 3 of them said yes. One of them has passed away. One of them is in the US after a 9-year wait for his visa. And the third one is in Haiti. And then we've added more people there. And some of the people that we have added to our team there, I have not met face to face because of COVID and because of safety reasons, but we've been able to do the same thing with them over the phone. And like they heard we have a feeding program, can they be part of it? I say you can. I mean, I hope you can. I'd love you to be part of our feeding program, our community program. I need a couple of references, but just so you know right off the bat, there's no wages. And the 2 people that we have added have been absolutely stellar for 2 or 3 years now, with their reports, with their calls, with their accounting, because they know from other teammates and they know from our reputation that we're investing for the right reasons and they're investing for the right reasons. So that's been a huge something that we did differently. And then we pay them, after they've been with us for that sort of trial period, they're paid like a stipend. It's not a full, NGO director's wage, but it's something that covers their groceries or their phone or their school fees. And then, of course, they're able to apply for emergency assistance as well. Yeah, so those are the 3 things. The shipping, what was it? Shipping, large teams, and paying staff. So last year, I like I said, I was in palliative care and dementia care for about a year. No, for 10 years. And then I got sick. I actually came through breast cancer. And after cancer and radiation and treatment and everything, I needed to go back to work. And I said to my husband, I said, I don't think I can go back to long-term care. I said, I don't think I can do it. And he said, if we had all the money in the world, you would never quit on Haiti. I said, no, never. And he said, well, let's do that then. So now I raise my own support separate from the mission's general fund. And I have people that support me monthly. They receive a charitable tax receipt that goes through payroll of our organization and of our CRA organization. And so I get a very little bit a month. So I know how our national directors feel. But we are always praying and believing that will increase and that people will come along and say, I believe in what you're doing. I like the way that you're doing things differently. How can we partner with you? And, 20, 40, 50, 200, whatever a month makes that difference and helps us to sustain the work. I hope that's something to think about.
Whew. I'm sitting here going, a lot of us from, I'm gonna say North America.
Yes.
North America. We have this mindset that our country's better, right?
Right.
Because right, we have this mindset, our country's better, da 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 da, and there's nothing wrong with thinking that. Don't get me wrong, but we
Right.
also have to be careful when we fall into pride,
Right.
right? We fall into that pride of, well, my country's better. Like, I don't know what your country's doing, because that mentality and that mindset, when we go to other nations, and again, everyone wants to be like, Lord, I want to go to missions. Everybody wants to go to mission, right? Until they actually see the reality of how people live, right?
Yes.
It's like we can say all we want, but are we actually ready to walk with these people and get to learn their culture and now bring our own I'm from North America type mindset into that culture, right? We really have to kind
Yeah.
of go low in that place and really learn. So I'm glad that you shared that. Now, my question to you, is there ever a time too where you're like, you've got to be careful who you bring on your team, right? Because again, everybody wants to go, but how do you determine or discern the right people to bring and people not to bring?
I tell people right off the bat, it's hot, it's noisy, it's going to cost you money, you're going to use your vacation time. I'm kind of bossy and fussy,
I love
and if you want to come, you're welcome. But this is how it's going to be. Like you're almost like you're going on a field trip, and there's rules. And I have I have another thing I have learned. I used to take just church kids. I used to take just teenagers from church youth group. And then I took 4 years off of all missions when my father passed away, when our daughter came home from Haiti after the earthquake. We moved, and I learned and read everything I could get my hands on, secular and Christian, on nonprofits, on charity, on ministry, on why do we do things the way that we do them, and is it working? So I started to open my mind and open my heart to inviting people left, right, and center. It was a joke in my family with the kids and my husband. We couldn't go to a restaurant or go to the gas station or go to the mall. And before we left, Mom would say, "Hey, do you want to come to Haiti?" And they're like, "Mom, you can't ask everybody," but I would. And so I have taken people with me that are not Christian per se. I have taken people with me that are curious about the world, easy to travel with, very open to what we're doing. And, I don't sugarcoat. I say, there's a lot of church meetings, and you can come and sit at the back if you want, but we would really like you to be there. And they come and they're in the presence of God. And they're like, oh, what is this? They're in Indian church with the music and the worship and the offerings and the preaching. And then afterwards, they're like, I think I need someone to pray for me. This has happened a few times. So yeah, I don't have hard and fast rules. I just like easy people that are just like, let's go with the flow. We need to be up at this time. You have to have everything in a carry-on, no exceptions, and because it's just easier. Internal flights, waiting at airports is not fun, and but people that have a good attitude and an open heart and know that they're going, into a Christian setting, to be aware of that, and then have an open heart and let God do what He wants to do in His time, and that has worked well so far.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, how many years have you been doing ministry? You said?
Well, missions, I took my first team to Serbia, Montenegro, and I believe it was the year 2000, 2001. Before that, I had been on some teams myself as like a participant. I first went to Haiti in 2006, and then we started Advance in 2014. And then while I was sick and supposed to be resting, I got our CRA designation and set up as a charity. So that was 2023. So this year is 11 years that we've been Advance. And it's been slow and steady, a lot slower than I expected. But also, like I said earlier, we have set the groundwork so that we can carry on with the national teams. and I don't have to. I have a national pastor in Nepal who deals with our water pumps. I'm the connector, like I said. I send him the money. He hires the local people, puts in the water pump, and those are for the persecuted church, far out in the mountains, 3-4 days drive out into the mountains.
Wow.
And so I trust him to do that. I went and met him in October, and since October we've opened 4 water pumps since October with this person who's our national director that I trust. He had a great reputation. I got to meet him face to face. So our goal with Nepal is 10 water pumps this year. In India, we do the village water wells, which is a little bit different. The water pumps in Nepal are 1,400 Canadian. The water wells in India are village wells. We hire a huge bore well drill truck. The church goes out, the pastor goes out, prays over the land, talks to the local farmers. Where do you need this? Then we drill, and the water comes up, and the pump goes in, and the plaque is placed. And that brings fresh drinking water from the water pump to over 120 families for $3,800. And they last 20 or 30 years. That is such an amazingly good investment in helping people. So the water wells in India are put on church property so that they can be, maintained, so everyone knows where they are, and they're open to everyone in the village. Jesus said, "Come and drink. Come all who are thirsty." So the pastor's wife might be there, getting her water and doing her laundry and washing her babies. And the other ladies will come and they'll start to talk and build relationship and build connection. And we have seen some really beautiful things happen with that way of doing those water wells.
So good.
Okay, so you've been doing that for a long time, but in ministry, in missions, there's pros and cons. Okay.
Yes.
So I like where we talk about serving them and, doing the water wells and bringing them the machines and doing all these good things. But what are the bad sides of those things? What are the setbacks that you've had in ministry since you started? Like,
Yeah, I find for me, my personal setback or my personal struggle is I feel like I'm constantly fundraising to the same people. So I am praying for God to open doors, to send this podcast, or to introduce me friends of friends of friends, to open the doors so that I'm not constantly, it feels like to me sometimes, constantly talking to the same people about the same thing who are already giving. They're already faithful supporters, some of them for 10 years. Setbacks, of course, in Haiti were COVID, and then the gang violence. The team has said, don't come. You won't even get out of the airport.
Wow.
We lost our manager, and we lost our best driver in Haiti. The first gentleman passed away from tuberculosis.
Wow.
And the second gentleman passed away from cholera. So these are 2 preventable diseases that are easily prevented with the proper care, but because of the infrastructure and because of the lack of care and just not being able to fix things has been a frustration for me. Like our friends that died has been a hard loss, and they were with us from the very, very beginning, and they did the work, and they were invested in their country, and they were hopeful and determined and reliable. And so to lose them has been that's a setback and a half.
Yeah.
We wouldn't say we almost threw in the towel, but we certainly took 2 weeks off. And I told the team in Haiti, 2 weeks off, don't do anything, just rest, because this is painful. So that was hard. I don't find not going a setback anymore. I used to, always kind of be counting down the days when I would go and do stuff. But the Lord has opened other doors in safer places, and I'm happy to walk through those doors. But I would say that the constant feeling of it's not a setback, but it's a constant in my mind of I am relying on God. He is my source. He will supply. You know, I need this money for this, or this money for that, or this money for this, and not overextending myself. I'm going to Cuba for the first time next month to help with a water project at a church there. And we're not taking money from the Haiti projects to fund the Cuba projects. We're asking God to bring it in, you know, so that we can do new steps, and doing slow steps, really slowly. Like Nepal felt fast, but I think that we had set the groundwork many, many years, and had a good connection there quickly. But that would be one of the setbacks was losing team members, and also feeling like I need a platform like this to go out and have people be like, yes, I can see what she means. I can, you know, get a references, do the groundwork, do the due diligence, look at our books and our reports, and then invest in us and partner with us. That's a good question.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's good.
There's so much about overseas missions that is tied with things that are not of God. And there's, I mean, you could just name so much. You know, let's take for example residential so-called schools in Canada. That's a thing that we all know now was wicked and was done by so-called missionaries with the backing of the government to destroy culture, to take language, to divide families, to you know, traumatize, sexual abuse, etc., etc. That's something that we're all aware of. And hopefully, as Christians and as Canadians, we're repenting continuously of that, and of that blood on our hands. But then why, here's a question, why as Canadian churches are we funding orphanages that have not had the due diligence done on the directors and the staff and the safety of the children? And also, if those children have living parents that need a little bit of help economically to remain in their families. It's a big, deep, and heavy topic, but orphan care is not the answer. And it can be so controversial and revolutionary, like, oh, we sponsor a child, and oh, this is my child, I sponsor this child, this is my child on my fridge. This is somebody else's child who has a loving mother, who probably has a loving father, that are so desperately poor and frustrated and hurt to relinquish that child to so-called Western assistance, and it's dividing families. God says he puts the lonely in families. He raises the poor out of the ash heap. He doesn't keep them there. He doesn't separate families. And of course, there are situations of true orphans, of abuse, where those children need to be taken away. Absolutely. But that should also be done always through the social services structure of the country that you're working in. Is your church funding an illegal orphanage? Do they have a social worker from the country your house is in coming to do an inspection once a month? I certainly hope so. And so, I mean, that's probably for another day, and I would have to make up some notes on that. But follow the money. In missions and money are so like Siamese twins. Missions and money. When there's a recession, when there's a change in leadership in a church, usually overseas missions is the first thing to go, usually the first thing to be cut. But if it's invested wisely and you're raising funds, where is it going? Who has access to it overseas? I have been to orphanages where I would pull up without notice, and I've done this a few times in several different countries, and they're shocked to see me, and they don't have time to wash 3 or 4 children and bring them out as a presentation. Wow. They don't have time to get rid of the young guys who are just hanging around the back, flirting with the laundry girls. Wow. They don't have time to tell the nannies, don't hit that kid. The white lady is here. I've seen it. I wouldn't say I've seen it all, but I have seen it. Children being smacked around. I've seen children, not dressed and not fed and not
Wow.
cared for, funded by Western churches. So find out where your money goes. That's the due diligence. You say, oh, we're stewards of God's money. It's not my money, it's his money. Well, if it's
You
his
better be
money, you
extra
better
Uh,
be extra
careful. Yeah.
careful.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And that's all I'm going to say
I
about
agree.
that. Here, I
hmm.
can feel my
I
face
agree.
getting hot.
I
So,
agree. Yeah. I agree. You better be extra careful. Where's your money going? What's the absolutely do your research. I agree 100%. Um Years ago,
yes.
I think I was in grade 10. A group of friends and my in grade 10, my high school friends, we did a gala for Haiti. And
Right.
I think that's when Haiti came in my heart. I didn't understand the whole thing then. I really didn't. But I just like had this
Mm-hmm.
heaviness for Haiti. And so we're like, okay, we were going to our local government at the time, like our mayor at the time. We're like, who do you know from Haiti? Because you're the mayor. I'm like, who do you know from Haiti that we can actually connect with? Because we didn't want it to go
Right.
through just any charity and be like, oh, we're gonna send your money to like we didn't want that. We wanted someone who
Yeah.
is from Haiti, lives in Canada, but often goes to Haiti and is actually hands-on, right? And so we were connected to this
Right.
guy named Bernard. And wonderful, wonderful man. And he does a lot for that
Good.
community. Really, just like a great guy. Him and his
Good.
wife,
Good.
just amazing people. And but he kind of when we
Good.
met
Good.
him, we were little, like we didn't really know much, like we don't know what we're doing, but this is our heart, this is our vision. And he really came behind that. But here's the thing though, he also gave us hard truths, right? Like he understood that we were willing to give the money to him because he that's what he does, but he also give us hard truth. Like it wasn't just after our money.
Right.
Oh yeah, you guys are young girls, you're naive. No, he gave us hard truth. And I saw like that was just so God, because you can't trust everybody, right? And so he really kind of taught us and
Right.
really trained us in that understanding, like, okay, if you're gonna do this, let's do it the proper way, because people take advantage, and especially when you don't know what's going on there, you can think that your money is going towards good when it's not. So he
Right.
really
Right.
trained us in that time. Again, I
Yeah.
was in grade 10. I didn't know much, but thank God for him. And but since then, right? Since then, that never left me. In the sense of, if I'm gonna sow into something, I need to do my research, right? I do my due diligence, because yes, it's God's money, but at the same time, we better be good steward of God's money. We don't just give our money just because
Right.
it's not our money. That's not the mindset that we want to grow up in.
Right.
So always do my
Yeah.
due diligence in giving. And so I share all that to say, I really think it's important what you've shared, especially Christian churches and people, period, because we're so we're so naive that we can see a commercial on TV and be like, oh yeah, yeah, right? It's like, no, you cannot be like that. We've got to be wise. We've got to be wise. We've got to use wisdom. We've got to use discernment and really know what are we investing into, right? Because there's so
Yeah.
many needs. There's never gonna stop being a need. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. There's so many needs. But where is your money
Yeah.
going, and who can you really sow into that you can see the fruits, right? And and that's good
Yeah.
fruits from Holy Spirit, and they're actually treating people right. And that's the other side of that too. Are the
Yes.
people being treated right, right? So anyways, I'll stop. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. That was awesome. That was good.
Yeah. Like money and
It's
missions is so closely connected. So closely
so
connected.
close.
And people say, well, why are we still giving to Haiti? Didn't they get all that money after the earthquake? And I've had people, I've researched this and looked at things, and people on the ground were not consulted. Haitians were not asked, what is your
Wow.
need?
Wow.
The airport was
Wow.
redone for who? The 1% that can afford to fly in and out? You know? And so I've had people say, oh, I don't want to give to Haiti. All that money just disappeared. Well, it didn't disappear into thin air. Where did it go? Who was touching it? and how much of it got to Haiti. And many people that have researched this and looked at just that one situation from the 2010, January 12, 2010 earthquake, have said that they believe that less than 2% of donations got into Haitian organizations, Haitian government, Haitian hands. Because the mentality is called paternalism. And the paternalism is that we're in charge.
Wow.
We hold the control. You can't be trusted to spend this properly. So we'll give it to you a little bit at a time in what we think you should spend it on.
Wow.
So it was instead of consulting people that have poured their lives into that country 20, 30, 40, 50 years, who've built up a reputation in the community, who have adopted Haitian children, who have, Haitian in-laws, who have served, on a shoestring budget from their heart, and know the language and know the ins and outs and know how you can be taken advantage of, instead of saying, you know what, we need some wisdom here. Who knows? It was not done that way. And one of the ways that has affected me is as a very small, very tiny, 300 meals a week in Haiti project, people that I don't know will often contact me and say, hey, I had one lady from Newfoundland. She won some money. She won $500. And she's like, I want to send $100 to Haiti. And you're the only person I know that goes there, because I used to work with your sister. So instead of donating to a huge organization, because of the way that funds were mishandled, sometimes little funds, and hopefully in the future bigger funds, will come through us because we're on the ground and we're doing the work. And there are many good organizations in Haiti. Many of them are Haitian run now, that, if you wanted to invest in Haiti agriculture, Haiti midwifery, Haiti schools, Haiti art projects, Haiti, banana plantations, whatever, you just Google it and do your due diligence, and you can find the right people doing a great job, but not without the sweat and tears and frustrations of that paternalism that took place not that long ago and still continues.
Oh, this is, yeah. I love this topic.
I told you we'd have some fun.
I love this topic. Whoa. Oof.
I'd like to talk just a little bit about what, sometimes we can see the world and all these problems and all these needs and all these hurts, and I don't feel like I can do anything, or I feel like it's just too much. Lord Jesus, take me home, swing low, sweet chariot, I'm done. What can I do that really makes a difference? And I have had to really narrow down, what do I do? Because I can get asked probably once or twice a week nowadays, in the last little while, can you fill this container? Can you collect eyeglasses? Can you send us a team of doctors? Can you come and build a school? And I have really had to narrow down to, what does Advance do? And we do community lunch for seniors in Haiti and their families, and we do water. And because of that, I'm able to hopefully to do that well, and hopefully to do that in a very efficient way. One of the huge benefits of having a national team that you can trust and that you've invested in and have relationship with, particularly like in India, our national director, he and I have been connected for almost 10 years. So one of the benefits is we as an organization, we pay national prices. We don't pull up in a tinted Land Rover and pour out of the vehicle with our satellite phones and say, how
I'm here to
brace
help.
Yourselves, I've fixed all your problems. I'm here. It's your lucky day, Self the price is right. Because of that, we have been able to keep our expenses and our costs at national levels. So we're drilling a village well way far out in the countryside, hours and hours drive out into the countryside, that will last 20 or 30 years and bring up good drinking water within a week or two by hiring local people, local workers. beautiful granite stone plaque that's personalized for the donor. And we're able to do that for 3,800 Canadian, which also gives us an emergency fund and a little bit of a wiggle room there and an investment in other projects, because we have learned, let's work with local people. They know the language. They've been drilling well in that country probably since 10,000 years. Why would I, as a person with
Come
no
on. Yeah.
experience,
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
enthusiasm but no experience, I need
That's
to
good.
know my lane.
That's
I need
good.
to stay in my lane, which
That's
is
good.
connect, and then go visit, have a meal together.
Good.
You know, I get to cut the ribbon sometimes, or I get to dedicate the well to the person it was donated in honor of. But we have learned the hard way to do things the hard and slow way. And if you had told me that Haiti would take this long to get to 300 meals a week, wow. Like, I thought we could do that in a month. And it's been almost 10 years. But we're doing it the right way, I believe. And God is just opening the doors and showing us what to do next and who to work with. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful way of unlearning mission and relearning. And I'm so thankful to be able to share that with you today.
I love that you guys have really, you've gone into these nations. The Lord has opened up these nations to you, but you've also really made it a point to honor the church in those nations. Right? It's like you're not just going and be like, I'm gonna reinvent the wheel and save it because you guys are doing a terrible job. So you're right, you're not going with that type of attitude or mindset or even heart. You really connected with the churches who live there 24/7, who know the government, who know the rules, who know all that stuff, and you really just partnered with them and come alongside them, right? Like, what do you need? How can we help? And you've really made it a point, again, that place of humbling yourself to learn from them rather than coming with your own agenda, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the church in India and in Haiti and in Nepal is struggling. It's, it can be they can feel forgotten, but when you get into the room and into the Sunday morning service and begin to pray and worship with them, it is wonderful. I'll just share with you real quick one of my best experiences. And like we were saying about not coming in with our own ideas, is the women in India in church, they sit separately on one side, and in Nepal as well. The men and women sit separately, side by side, with the aisle down the middle. And when the women pray, they cover their head. They pull up their scarf and cover their head to pray, and then take it back down afterwards. So that's a cultural thing that maybe we think, oh, that's religious, or that doesn't seem right, or we wouldn't want to do that. Well, you don't have to, but we honor them. And so when I say let us pray, I wait 2, 3, 4 seconds till everyone's done that, like they just kind of like that. And then we pray. But one of my best experiences in India, and it's happened a couple times now, is when I first started going there, I felt like the team in Haiti maybe felt like I was abandoning them, or maybe they felt like I was going to take the resources and take them elsewhere. So I said to our Haitian team, I said, I'm going to build relationship with the church in India, and we're going to be sister projects and sister countries. And they said, okay, Jay, we understand. So when I was in India, I said at the end of the meeting, I said, there's a very small country far, far away called Haiti. Told them a little bit of the history, told them a little bit about the church. And I said, can I film you for 10 or 20 seconds praying for Haiti? Then I'll put my phone down and I'll pray with you. And they said, yes. So I said, okay, let's pray for Haiti, for the restoration of that country, for bondages to be broken, for healing to come. And I just shared with them a few things. So I said, okay. So I filmed them for about 10 seconds so I could show my Haitian team. And I tell you, they nearly took the roof off that place praying for Haiti in India a couple of times. And it's been one of the highlights of my life to be in that Sunday morning service where the Indian church feels the suffering of the Haitian church and lifts them up in prayer. And last Friday, all the pastors and myself, the pastors in India and myself did a day of prayer and fasting for Haiti, because
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
has to break,
Yeah.
Yes.
something has to give.
Yeah.
And we are believing that God is not finished with that
Yeah.
beautiful country, with all
Amen.
that potential. And so to have people from around the world stand with us is another testament to building slowly, to investing in people, and to trusting nationals with what God has put in their heart to pray for. So yeah, that was a real highlight
So
of my
good.
life.
Mm.
Amen.
I think
Amen.
we're
No,
wrapping up,
it's
but I guess
amen.
we might have to do a part 2 after Cuba, or after my next trip. We might have to do another
Yeah.
Yeah.
session.
We have to hear
Yeah.
about it.
Thank
Others, it's
you.
not about us,
Thank you
it's
for
about the
having me.
people out there, right?
Yes.
We'll hear about it.
And getting the
Right.
word out. We're like we like that the Lord has allowed us to get the word out from the people who are actually on the ground. Right? So it's not just, oh, I
Yeah.
watch TV about Haiti. Like, no. Like we see it, we live it, you live it.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Real life experience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at the beginning, when you were speaking, I really like when you said that when you went with those 3 or 4 sewing machines. You know, that was just getting to know what the culture is all about, right?
Yes.
Because,
Yeah.
like you say again, we tend to go, oh, I'm going over there and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But when you get there, it's a different story. It's a different environment, a different everything, right? So it's a good thing. I like when you
Yeah.
say that you had to get to learn to know the culture and everything. Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not an expert by any means, and I purposely decided not to learn Creole, partly because I didn't have enough brain space to learn it, and also I could rely on my team to translate what I needed to. So I'm not. I've never lived there. I've stayed there a maximum of 10 days, but I am invested in Haiti since 2006, and my husband and I have a daughter that was born there,
Ah,
so it's a big part of our life and a big part of our family. So I go to Cuba next month for the first time. I've been learning Spanish for about a year, and so I'm excited about that, and to see if I can put that to good use, I hope, and to see what water projects God has for us
Amen.
yeah,
there. So thank you so much for
you're
having me
welcome.
today. Thank you for letting me just share my ideas and
This is good.
history. And I hope that people that hear this and see this will want to know
Yes,
more,
that's
and
we.
get, contact me,
Yes.
please. Let's have a chat wherever you are in the world or across Canada. I'll be in Edmonton next week. I'll be in St. John's in October, and I would love to meet with you, and let's partner
Amen.
together.
You know, do you know that the Creole is like broken French? I
Yes,
speak
yes,
Creole,
it's.
because I'm
Do
from
you know?
Dominica, and
Oh
that's what
wow,
we
wow, wow.
speak, Creole. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I just found. I just thought I had to decide that the first visit, am I going to do this or not? And I had another missionary say to me, "Do you have enough on your plate already?" And I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Then give it to God and carry on your business." I'm like, "Okay." So I was assured. I was assured that I wasn't neglectful of that part. But no, I'm not an expert by any means. But I love them, and I hope they love
Mhm.
me. I think I'm sure some of them
Oh
do.
yeah, they love
I
you.
love them.
Once
They
they
Yeah.
got
love
used to
you.
me.
Yes.
I'm not from Haiti. I'm not from Haiti. My friend, my close friend, actually, she's from Haiti and she speaks broken French. Somehow, I speak French, not Quebec French, completely different thing, people, okay? Quebec, I'm not, that's a whole other topic.
That's a
I
different
love
French.
them
Yeah,
though.
it's a
I
whole
love them
different
though.
That's a
ballgame.
different French.
Love them. But we can actually, I can carry a conversation with my friend from Haiti in French. And I'm like, it's so weird. Maybe because I've known her for a long time, but I can actually pick up on what she's saying. I just
Yeah.
can't. I speak back in my way of French, but I can understand her a lot. I can understand her.
When your hearts are connected, God makes a whole lot of things work.
Have
So
happen.
true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you
true.
don't have to
Yes.
be an expert to
So
have the
true.
heart where God will say, "Okay, let's do this," and you just do it,
You
and He
just do
brings
it.
the right people to help you fill in the gaps.
So
Hmm.
Exactly.
true. That's so good. Now, Nicola, where can people find you? How can they connect with you?
Our website is called advancedlives.ca. I'm on Facebook at Nicola Topsom. I have written a book called Breathe Again.
Oh,
And I thought I would do
oh.
like a little special offer today. If you want to call me or partnership with me, then I would love to give you a copy of this book about how God brought me out of a bad situation into a good situation. And it's an interesting story, I hope, and one that gives hope to people that are stuck and maybe even stuck in a church that maybe you shouldn't be in, but God is opening doors for you to branch out and to do what you're called to do. So I hope that will bless you.
And where can they find that book?
You can call me and I'll like send you one, or I'll bring you one, or you can find it on Amazon. But I would prefer to meet you for coffee and give it to you. That's for sure.
So
We're gonna have to plan a coffee date.
Yes, please.
yeah,
Yes, please.
yeah. Let's do
Yes.
it. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you
Very
so
good.
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you too for coming. Thank you for your yes and sharing.
Happy to.
It's deep. It's deep.
Good. Good.
It is deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I find so much like it's like you're saying, I don't have an education, I don't have this, I don't have that, but look at the things that you're doing.
Mm.
It's only God directing
Yeah.
you his directions, right?
Mm. Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah.
How
Never a
you
dull
how you
moment.
do the thing? We give them the slipper, the flip-flops. She sell five and then she give away five and then she sell the rest and make money. It's like
Yes.
yeah.
Economy. God's
Yes.
economy. Nothing is wasted in God's economy. Nothing is wasted in God's economy. And you're investing in women, investing in young men, investing in fathers.
Yes.
This
So
I could
good.
talk about that for a full hour. Investing in people.
That's so good.
People before projects.
Come on.
People
This
before
is
projects.
wisdom from God, man.
Oh,
This is wisdom from God.
I'll show you one more thing before we go, because I know we're up to an hour. This is one of the best books I
Yeah.
ever read. I read this book every year. It's
What's
called
this one?
Toxic Charity by
Oh.
Robert Lupton. And it says how churches and charities hurt those they help and how to reverse it. I found
Mm.
this little book in a thrift store for $2 and it changed my life.
gosh,
I've given it to
share that.
people, shared it with people who are like, I got halfway through and I don't want to read anymore because now I have to change my whole program. I'm like, I know. But, be open to change, be open to big things.
Yes.
Because when we start small with wisdom and courage
Mm-hmm.
and the favor of God on us, then big doors will open. And I have
Yes.
big dreams. When you come to visit our website, it says, small steps towards big dreams. My goal is
Mm-hmm.
1,000 water wells before I die. My goal is 1,000 meals a week in Haiti in the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is for huge water companies like Brita or Nestle to say, hey, we want to fund you because we see what
Amen.
you're doing. And
Amen.
if you don't have a dream, if you don't have something that gets you up excited in the morning. Now,
Yes.
we've all had jobs that
It's
we didn't want
true.
to go to. We've
Yeah.
all had, I did the hard work. I did the hard restaurant work on my
Mm-hmm.
feet all day. I did the hard night shifts as a caregiver for many, many years. And then at 50, God opened the doors for me to do this as my
Wow.
job. And I'm
Wow.
praying that people will partner with me so that I can, my husband is wonderful, but he shouldn't have to do everything. Bless him. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
able to contribute like I was when I was working full time. So I appreciate that
Wow.
opportunity to
Wow.
share.
That's good.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I better let you go before I get fired up again.
Well, you're gonna have to come back after Cuba. So
Thank you.
you
I would
Yeah.
love to. I would love
Yeah.
to. I would love for people to contact you with questions before then.
Mhm.
In the next 6 weeks, if they can contact you with questions or they have an idea but they don't know how to get started or they'd like to connect for coffee, that would be wonderful. I would be really
Mhm.
open to that.
Okay. That's good. Wow. Hmm. Okay. I guess we're wrapping up. Facebook friends and family. Thanks for listening. For those of you that haven't heard that podcast, I encourage you to go on Facebook live on not live, but Facebook. It's gonna be there on YouTube. The Woman of Purpose interview, and it's also on my page. It will be on the Woman of Purpose page as well on Facebook.
Thank you.
So please go there and listen to it. And I ask you that you partner with her, donate to her, because she's doing a good job out in the nations, the different nations. So please partner with her.
Thank
Any
you.
little thing matters. It doesn't matter how small, it could be $5. But the $5 that you give out of your heart, the blessings will flow. So
Yes.
please join her in on her journey.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll sign off now. And yeah.
Thank you both so much. Well, how wonderful
You're
to be able to
welcome.
share.